How are you feeling? Are you okay?
I'm good. The boys are now tucked away for an hour. They're having their hour off their homeschooling, so gives me time, hopefully, to be able to answer your questions and have a good interview.
Amazing. So you're homeschooling as well?
Yeah, no choice until the middle of February, apparently. I'm not sure if you know, we have three boys, 9, 7, and 7. So it's still primary age, so it's still full on
Oh,
ish.
wow. Well, listen, I congratulate every parent who's like having to homeschool at this moment in time. It's not easy. So you're doing a fantastic job, Bayo. So well done.
Yeah, good. And I mean, it's two of us. You know, Magda, my partner.
Yes.
To be fair, they're good boys. They're very independent. They love school. And so they get on, and the school's got a nice platform for them to work. It's pretty engaging, it's pretty enthralling. So, but they've got an extended lunch break and tea break all rolled into one.
Right. Okay. Wow. Wow. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. And, you know, it's so good that there's some structure there for them and, you know, parents are able to help them. So that's such a positive thing at this time. So yeah, well done, mate. Honestly, really good. So Bayo, we're so excited to speak to you today. You are the expertise coach that we need in our lives if we don't already have. And you're going to explain why. So Bayo, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So first and foremost, I'm not the expert, but I am a coach and mentor, business coach and mentor. What for me that means, pure coaching is about eliciting from my clients, from my coaches, their goals and aspirations, working with them to first identify what that goal is, and then work with them to try to deliver that over a period of time. It's often dependent on the goal, but for me, it's also about the willingness to achieve that goal, breaking barriers, trying things new, coming out of your comfort zone, and then appreciating the resources and the options you need to deliver. So one of the famous models that you'll use is called a GROW model, where you identify your goal, you look at the resources you have available to deliver it, the options, and for me, one of the most important aspects is the willpower. And then I've added a couple of extra assets to that. E is to deliver excellence in that goal. You know, it's all well and good having a goal, but if you really don't want to do it, or it's somebody else's goal, it's somebody else's objective, it's somebody else's target, you know, you're half-assed, forgive my French. But if it's yours, you own it, you take responsibility for it, and you're held accountable for it, it's yours. And then I say to myself, after you've achieved it, reward yourself. Celebrate that success, because sometimes, you know what it's like in the world. Just take last year, your resilience, your willpower, the ups and downs, they're manifold, and not everyone pats you on the back. So there's no harm in patting yourself on your back. Reward yourself, stick that into your reserve tank, because there's going to be some bad times to come. Then you think back to, oh, I did that. It took me this, it took me that, and I did it, and now I know I can do something else. So that's how I use that particular model and others to coach. In terms of mentoring, well, my history suggests that I worked in social housing. I'm into people, and my own journey has a lot of ups and downs. No one's got a straight journey, but mine's are ups and downs. And what I do in terms of mentoring is work with people who are going through ups and downs and help them navigate it. So the world of mentoring for me is in my background in social housing, law, and I'm very passionate about young people as well, because they're our future, etc., etc. But you know, you get labelled dysfunctional, you get labelled disheartened, dispirited, and etc. But actually, within everyone, there's a diamond, and I like to work with those where I can.
I love these words. This is exactly what we needed for 2021, Bayo. We needed to hear you. Honestly, it's fantastic. No, thank you so much for sharing. So, Bayo, we're going to learn a bit about kind of you, your career. I'm going to ask you a few questions about that. So let's dive into the first question. Okay, so Bayo, so what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
So that one thing. Sorry, repeat that. It faded.
Apologies. What's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
There's no such thing as failure. There's only mistakes, and what's important is you learn from those mistakes. So let's think about most people. You do your O-levels. Oh, I didn't get enough O-levels. You do your A-levels. Oh, I didn't get enough grades. You go to university. Oh, I didn't get a first. You get a master's. Oh, I should have got a doubles distinction. Actually, so what? They are all things that are judged in that moment. And sometimes my best story for failure, quote unquote, is my old man wanted me to be a doctor. And I'm Nigerian. And as a Nigerian, doctors, accountants, and all those things were the de rigueur. My first A-levels were maths, biology, chemistry, and physics. I got 2 U's, a C, and a B. So that was a failure. Turned up to my local pub with my best friends and said, oh my God, look what I've done. I'm not going to get into mid school. I've done this. My dad doesn't like me, blah, blah, blah. And one of my still long-standing friends said, yeah, so what about us? We haven't even tried A-levels, let alone done A-levels. And I'm sure you can do it again. And I did do it again. And, you know, you did new set of A-levels, went to uni, but it didn't really dawn on me until you go through job interviews and you fail them, or you have a life partner and you go through ups and downs. They're not failures, they're just mistakes. And you learn from them. You know, you do your O-levels, you do them again if you can. You do your A-levels, you do better if you can, but you're always doing better. You don't stand still. And it comes to various terms that they use in the coaching world around mindset, fixed mindset, growth mindset. I think 99% of us have a growth mindset. We want to change, we want to better ourselves. The difference is some push themselves more so than others, and some have people around them who are supportive of that goal, of that ambition, of that drive. And that's where my skill set and the people I admire come into play.
That's amazing. Amazing. Spot on advice, mate. I love that. I love that. That's absolutely true. It's so true. It's like, it's when you have that motivation to overcome, like, you made a mistake, doesn't matter, let's move on, let's go into the next thing, let's try again. I love that. So Bayo, talking about failures, what in terms of your, you know, opinion is your biggest failure, and what did you in particular learn from it?
Okay, again, I don't use the word failure, but I know where you're coming from. So when I got into housing, 1992, whatever it was, I was fortunate enough to work with a director of housing who taught me a lot. And I just said at that time, I was his PA actually, but I said, I want to do your job one day. Not his job, but I wanted to be a director of housing. I wanted to work in social housing at as high level as I can. I never actually attained that level permanently. I had acting roles. So between 1993 and 2016, I climbed the ladder, but I never became the chief exec that I wanted to be. On reflection, it's because in that moment, in that time, it's not what I was destined to do. I did my best and I enjoyed it. And I love housing. I still love it to death. I'm still involved. But actually, sometimes you outgrow that particular target or objective. And the only anecdote I can use is if you're a runner and you've done 5Ks, because I'm not a runner, I'm going to get all my figures wrong. If you've done 5Ks in a certain time, your PB, sometimes you want to stretch yourself and do another PB, and stretch yourself and do another PB. Or actually, circumstances are different. You might run over a mountain. You might do a different course. So it's always about what next. And I was fortunate enough to say, okay, I'm getting on, approaching the big 5-0. It ain't going to happen. Things didn't happen for me well at work. That's another story. What else can I do? And what I can do, what I was good at, was mentoring people and apparently coaching people. So I took that as a possible future retirement plan. And equally, having 3 boys under the age of 4 at that time. And I just said, you know what, 3 boys of mixed heritage, growing up in the streets of London, why not be a house dad as well? And bless my cotton socks, my missus, as you know, Magda, she had an amazing job which required her going all over the shop. So yeah, why not do stuff I could do from home that I was passionate about and still keep tabs of the rest of the world that I grew up with. And that's what I do right now. I could change my mind again. You know, the word one of the big words last year was pivot. How can you change where you're at to improve? And that's what life is really about. That's what my life has been about. Knocking on the door of improvement, knocking on the door of improved success. And for me, just challenging myself and doing something slightly different and better than before.
Amazing.
Not always easy, mind.
No.
Very difficult. Very difficult. But, you know, it depends on who you surround yourself with and and how you motivate yourself.
100%. I mean, and to take that leap as well, very brave. And there you go. It's paying off, mate. You're doing amazing. So yeah, no, everyone, if you're thinking about it, do it. Bayo's done it, and look at what's happened.
Can I just add to that? I mean, the Nike advert says just do it, but behind just doing it, there's a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research. There's a lot of due diligence. You've got to get the right people behind you. You've got to learn from mistakes. You've got to embrace mistakes. And then you learn from them and you grow. That's what you probably want to be thinking of. Not that I'm just going to go and do my marathon. Some people can, but it hurts. It's best to prepare for that marathon as best you can, then do the marathon, and then say to yourself, maybe I can do it again, but slightly better, on a slightly different way.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Definitely you have to prepare before you take that leap. 100%. So, Bayo, what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours? So in your, being a coach, basically, what would you advise someone to do?
To be a coach, I'm actually putting something out on LinkedIn about 10 different techniques that a coach requires. You want to ask me questions about that later, but here we go. I can't remember off by heart. Interpersonal skills are definite. The most important bit is be able to listen, ask really important questions. But the nutshell of becoming a coach, because you can become a coach or a mentor, but you want to run it as a practice and a business. That's a completely different skill set, you know? So I've been running a business for the past 4 years, having never ran a business properly myself previously. My mother, my father, my sisters, they've run businesses, but I am passionate about getting someone across the line. So if you want to be a coach, are you good interpersonal skills? Do you understand? Are you empathetic? Do you understand that it's not about you in that moment? It is about your client. In fact, you've got to throw away everything about you. And for some people, like me, big-headed, bit arrogant, bit flash, a bit ooh-ah, back in the day, it was an amazing transformation for me to say, you know what? It is about Selvi today. It is about getting Selvi to think passionately about her ambitions and her goals and helping her get there. So I really think in order to be a coach or a mentor, you just have to ask yourself, what's your why? As with everything, what's the purpose? What's your vision? Why are you actually doing that? And then, you know, we live in a world where you have to pay bills, you have to buy food, so you have to work out how can you turn that into a business that makes sense. Some people could do it as a hobby because they might have some money stashed away, or they could do it part-time, whatever. But you do need to look at that whole picture and then assess how it fits your life, and more importantly, how you will fit it to better yourself and then the clients you work with. So what was the answer to your question? Think about your why, think about your how, pull those together, and then work on how you deliver it and improve as you go along.
Amazing advice, Bayo. Love it. Yeah, so good, so good. So, Bayo, what are the best resources that have helped you along the way?
The best three?
The best resources that have helped you along the way.
So having a mentor, having a coach, having different mentors and coaches over a period of time. My first coach was in 2003. She was amazing. She is still amazing. I still follow her. I still engage with her. I've had several since, depending on a period of time. Mentor, so you grow up not knowing their mentors, because that's not the titles they give themselves, but on reflection, they are your mentors. And they range from family, friends, and foe. So there are some managers who I didn't get on with, I didn't like, they didn't like me, but you know what? I use that in order to improve my good self. So one of the big resources is that cable of support and encouragement, and I call it mentors. Obviously family, and you know, bless his cotton socks, my old man died in 2003. At that time, I didn't realize or appreciate what parenting is. And the geezers are legends now to me, because when I sit back and look at my 3 kids and I'm saying, you know what they went through. And he came into England in 64, 66 with my mum, you know, from Nigeria. Wow. We talk about what we went through last year, 2020, mates, every day. That was their life, that was their living. But he never complained to me about it. What he said was, it is what it is, I'll do better. And that was what he gave to me and my two sisters, or my siblings, shall I say. So that's number two. So mentor, coach, parents, definitely, family, my sisters, my immediate family. And then along the way, there have been some individuals who are, and I won't name them, but they're just there, you know, friends you grew up with.
Yeah.
And I'll probably call it institutions as well. Some of the places I worked, some of the places I studied, some of the places I socialized, and the eras or the epochs that I grew up with, the decades, 80s, 90s, 70s, now the zeros. At each stage, things have dropped into my lap that have created who I am. And another good thing about being a coach is you reflect, sit back and ask yourself, wow, should I have, could I have, did I? Just reflect. And so my answer to your question is family, friends and foe, mentor, coach, and I'm going to call it organizations, institutions, or places and times that I was involved with whatever I was involved with. So those are my three resources.
Amazing, Bayo, absolutely. And bless your dad, he's done an amazing job, Bayo, because look how you've turned out. So.
And my mum and dad are cool. I mean, you know, parents, aunts, uncles. I had a group, my dad's sister, my giddy Aunt George, was she hard? Hard on us, hard. But hey, on reflection, it needed to be. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Brixton. I went through 3 riots.
Wow.
When I say I went through 3 riots, I wasn't involved. But the reason I wasn't directly involved is because of that discipline and nurturing that was given to me by my mum, by my dad, and by their siblings. No way are you going out. Stay at home. Are you mad? Education is the most important. All of that every day. So yeah, it was cool. It was hard. You don't appreciate it at the time. Of course you don't. But on reflection, you just say, yeah, man, wow, that saved my bacon.
Absolutely. The next question is quite similar to what you just kind of answered. So who are the 3 people or characters who've been the most influential to you? So you've kind of answered that.
Yeah, okay, I'll tap on 3 more as I think about it. So my 2 best mates in the world, I'll call them P and I'll call them M. That's the initials of their first names. P's in a pod-ish, South London boys, who, when I met them, were at different stages in my life and in my development. And we're still very close now, as best you can be for 50-year-olds with kids. But if I talk about P first, where I lived in Brixton, there was a footbridge called the North-South Divide, we called it. And my best mate, who I'd known since the age of 4, we were about 13, he said, come over, I want to introduce you to some new friends. Got on our skateboards and our bikes, went over the footbridge, and I met P. Now P, South London parlance, was a geezer. His family were hard men. Not completely different. They were Nigerian, but their lifestyles and their upbringing was different to mine.
Yeah.
I had privileges. They had hardship. One thing that they didn't lack was belief in themselves as brothers and sisters. And they taught me everything I needed to know to survive on the streets of South London. They didn't sort of say at school, come in at 9 o'clock and do this. But you knew when you hang around with them, you watched them, you breathed with them, you fought with them, you danced with them, you partied hard with them, you cried with them, and all those things were what were important in my upbringing.
Yeah.
Then Mark was another guy, Caucasian guy from Putney, and we met at college. And this was the second time I was doing my A-levels and I failed the first time round. And we just latched on because we were 2 completely different people, but were driven. And he taught me, and I'll be honest with you, not taught me, but showed me how people live that are kind of better off than you. But he didn't have those airs and graces. He just wanted me to experience life as you see it in Putney. So Theodora Road. Have you ever been to a place called Theodora Road? Wow. I mean, their gardens went onto the back of the river. For a boy living in the streets of Brixton to see the River Thames on a regular basis was a different thing. And these little nuggets are what infused and built my character. So those 2 are definitely main characters. I've mentioned my coaches, too many, too far between. My 2 best mates, I've obviously talked about, but I think one other character that I lean on a lot is a old work colleague. He was my boss. He was my boss for many, many years. But after he retired or whatever, he still kept in touch. Just wanted to make sure I was still going for it, because I had a lot of knockbacks while I was in housing. A lot of, you're not good enough. You're not going to be a director. You're not going to be this. You're not going to be that. And always in the background, there'll be a little text or a little phone call saying, don't worry about that, mate. If it ain't going to happen here, it's going to happen there. And I'll give his initial is M, and he's been an amazing character, because, again, he talked to me about the nuances of being a senior manager. It's all well and good having your masters in this. It's all well and good being a fellow of that. It's all well and good delivering on a day-to-day basis. But if you didn't know the other 32 directors, if you didn't meet them and greet them and socialize and network with them, nada. And he taught me the benefits of networking, which again is important when you run a business, when you run your life. When you want to move forward, you need to have a group of people around you that can support you.
Yeah.
I'd argue.
Massively. If you have a community around you, you can literally achieve anything, in a group of people, because you have that support. And kind of like, also, from what I've kind of learned of networking is like, you always have eyes everywhere. So like, you can only do a certain amount of things in a working week, but if you have other people, they're all doing the same thing. So it's almost like you have that visibility of what's going on in the market or the industry you're doing. Yeah.
And that is built up. I mean, the biggest network you have is your family. Then the second biggest for me is your friends. And then the third is just, the formal networking things that exist in life. Be they community, be they football club, be they a networking event, or being whatever you're working in. They are key to your development.
Amazing. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Lovely advice there. Thank you, Bayo. So, Bayo, what is one common myth about being a coach that you want to debunk? So what do people kind of assume a coach does, and actually it's nothing like that?
I might get told off for this. There's a spectrum of support and help, right? And the spectrum is directive support, non-directive support. Pure coaches, like myself, are on the non-directive spectrum. Mm-hmm. We engage, but we don't tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. We inspire, but we don't show you necessarily what to do.
Yeah.
We empower, but we don't criticize how and what it is you do. Mm-hmm. Our role is to be eliciting from you what you would like to do, and hopefully share with you a path for you to engage.
Yeah.
On the other spectrum, you have more directive engagement, where you have consultants, for example, advisors, for example, who will show and do for you what you want to do. So you engage a consultant. I want to, build this or build that. They will help you draw out the plans and the processes, and they'll actually build it for you. Mm-hmm. In the middle, almost in the middle, you have a sort of the mentor who does a bit of this and a bit of that, mm-hmm. shows you, advises you, supports you, engages. But for me as a coach, it's not about the doing, it's about the supporting and eliciting from my clients what it is they want to do. And it is that which is made difficult for clients who don't understand the coaching process, because they may expect the coach to do it for them. We do, but not actually physically do it for them. It's more of an emotional, mental, and spiritual journey, without what I call the edifices of those three tenets. It's about me really pulling from you how you want to deliver that goal and that objective. And my style is to be engaging, challenging, very focused, very persistent, but equally empathetic and understanding in the journey that you want to undertake. And I also probably bring to bear my own, not to bear, but understand through my empathy, my own life experiences, my own journeys in trying to set up a business, running a business, having worked, having failed, having signed confidentiality agreements, having been made redundant, having been told you're not going to get this job, having told this business is not going to make it, having been told by your accountant, are you sure you can continue during the pandemic, blah, 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 blah. It goes back to how you define your goals and objectives and what motivates you to move that forward.
Interesting. It's so true. No, fantastic advice. It's true. It's how what your perspective on it is, and what lengths you're willing to do to kind of reach your goals. Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
fantastic advice. No, great. Thank you. So, Bayo, where can our listeners connect with you online?
That faded out again. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Where can our listeners connect with you online?
Where can they connect with me online?
Yeah.
So it's quite easy. Bigoh, Bigoh, is where you would find me on all the socials, as my sons will say. So your LinkedIn will be your LinkedIn will be Bayo Igoh.
Yeah.
Bigoh on socials such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It is at BigohCoaching. So BiGoh coaching, BigohCoaching. And I suppose this is an opportunity to give a plug. I now have a YouTube channel, so you can find a lot of my stuff there too at BigohCoaching. So BiGoh coaching, CoAching. I'm more active on LinkedIn because that's a platform I'm familiar with. You can see me there, you can work with me and see what I post, but all the other socials too.
Amazing. No, that's great. And I'll make sure I link all of those on, because I'm going to repost this video. I'll link all that information on there as well, so you guys can get in touch.
Thank you.
Bayo, that's all. No, thank you. Thank you. Bayo, honestly, the information that you've given has been fantastic and so useful. So Bayo, now on to a little bit more about you and what you do. So your topic of choice is, I'm guessing, coaching and kind of like what you do?
So, as in terms of who I coach and how do I coach them?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I work primarily. I live in Lewisham, Southeast London, and I work primarily with small businesses in the Lewisham area. And they're various phases. You know, startups, those in the middle, and those who want to expand. I have a partnership with the Federation of Small Businesses. It was a fortnightly, but this year it's a monthly networking event. So you could go onto the Federation of Small Businesses network, and there we have 20 to 30 local businesses, and we network, we exchange ideas, we have a testimonial. Each month an individual does a presentation. I also coach in the space for professional services, because obviously my background, having worked in professional services in law and housing, and my own experiences of mistaken failure. Again, I coach those individuals about how you can manage, coach, lead a team, deal with ups and downs. So that's good for me. I also coach in the sporting sense. I have a couple of retainers of football clubs and the FA in terms of how I can help coach the coaches and also support young people. But one of my big passions, my corporate social responsibility, is working with young people. I volunteer for 3 or 4 organizations where I act as a role model or a mentor, primarily in the BAME space, working with labeled individuals, disenfranchised, dysfunctional, excluded, but working with them about seeing a different light, seeing a different way. It's not impossible, but it does require hard work. It does require a vision. So one of those groups is called a Black Training Enterprise Group. Another's called Synergy. Another one's called Black Ownership and Entrepreneurs, Black Owners and Entrepreneurs. And again, it's about working with those individuals about aspirations, be they professional services or entrepreneurial tendencies. It's about helping them put that model together and deliver those on that basis. In terms of mentoring, I worked in housing for over 30 years, so I do mentor a number of the new generation leaders, primarily around navigating the ups and downs that we all will experience, particularly if you're very ambitious. Ambition is measured as a peak and trough. And I also mentor in my what I call alumni space. So the unis I went to, I'm really passionate about, look, you might not got the grade, you may not be getting the module, you don't know what to do next, but it ain't the end of the world, you know. As I said, studied law, wanted to be a lawyer, didn't get articles, went into housing, got my degree in housing, got a postgraduate master's in housing, got a master's in law, I'm now a coach. Things happen, things change. You just got to stick with your guns and believe, really believe. So I coach people who want to be coached. That's what I do.
Bayo, that was so inspiring. Honestly, like, you just changed the story. You changed the narrative. It didn't work out, but you know what? That's not going to stop you. You're going to go and smash it. I love that. Honestly, I love that story.
Can I also put in there as well? It's in every walk of life, and I'm reading a book at the moment. I've just finished a book by a guy called David Goggins. So another thing as a resource is learning. Learning is key. If you want to be good at anything, you need to learn. And there's different ways of learning. So I grew up academic. My parents, academia. Not a problem. But there's vocational learning as well. There's reading. So I've just finished reading a book by David Goggins. It's called It Can't Hurt Me. Now this is a beast. So you're not going to be like him. He's a beast. But the fundamental thing he's saying is every single one of us goes through an up and down. The fundamental difference between most people is how they manage that up and down, how they manage the mistake or perceived failure. What's pushing them to push their own personal best? Now he's a beast. I mean, he went so dark in himself and created so many things for his mindset. It's unbelievable. But we can all do that. We can all work out, do you know what? Am I going to get up this morning and get on my bike and ride the 5Ks? Am I going to get up this morning, make my son's breakfast, then get them through homeschooling, then do a chat with Sylvia, then do my work? And it's all about choices.
Yeah, massive.
And those choices are better made if you callous your mind and prepare yourself. So the night before, I prepared myself for your interview. The night before, I've got my bike in the front room, all ready to be jumped on to ride. I prepared myself to make sure that the boys do their bit of work first, then they're going to have their downtime, then they're back on it. Prior planning prevents poor performance. That was one of the old adage. But as David Goggins says, it's always going to be down to you. It's hard. It's down to you. And every single one of us has those ups and downs. And it doesn't mean you want to be a millionaire. It doesn't mean you want to be this and that. It's what's in your space and in that moment. And who's going to help you? Friends, family, and foe. Those are the ones who normally help or don't help, as the case may be.
Absolutely. No, literally, everything you're saying is like gold. It resonates massively with me and probably everyone who's listening right now. But no, that's amazing advice. Bayo, what can I say? It has been an absolute pleasure having you on my show. We have tons. It's been a revelation. We needed this for 2021, first person in, and we needed to have you on my show. This has been great, but thank you so much. I hope that you come back in the future and
please, that'd be amazing.
With your presence. But yeah, no, thank you so much. Everyone, if you wanted to get in touch with Bayo, I will repost this video and I'll put all the details so you can reach out to him. And I'm sure he's looking forward to hearing from you all. So thank you. For now, Bayo, thank you so much. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Self. Excellent.
Hopefully have you on in the future, but yeah, take care for now. And
thank you very much, Sylvie. Take care. Much appreciated. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.